Hello, everybody. Let's kick it off with Eric on backend.
Yeah, hello everyone. Happy 2024. So yeah, last week basically trying to figure out what we're doing with our lives after Christmas and where we're at, and yeah, again just getting back up to speed really with what's going on. Um, Basically, the only thing to talk about really is just the migration status of Synapse. So it should hopefully be mostly there now. All the issues have been copied over to Element HQ repo as well. Obviously, everything's still is there on Mixture.org being archived, but it's also now on Element HQ. Everything should also now be set up for people to contribute. And so if you do try and contribute, it should come up with the prompt to do the SLA and things like that. So yeah, let us know if you have any problems and we'll figure it out. Otherwise, this week, we're going to try and do an RC of Synapse. This will be the first RC after the migration, so I'm sure there'll be lots of fun and games getting that to work. So bear with us while we figure that out. But yeah, we're aiming for it tomorrow. And yeah, I think that's basically all we have for the moment.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Moving on to Dendrite account portability.
Sorry, Josh, can I just ask a question or two on the Synapse migration stuff? First of all, I was a bit surprised that the issues copied over don't say who wrote the issue, which makes it really hard to understand what's going on when trying to use the copied issues.
I think we decided that given that it notifies every single issue that you migrate over, you end up, if we did that, we end up notifying, like spamming everyone's emails for like 10,000 issues, which is a bit unfortunate. And our main desire with them was basically to try and copy over the description, the title and description, so we can search and then link back to the previous one. If we want to do something different, I think we can, and we can certainly learn for the new ones, and we can go back and edit the old ones as well to put back in more information. I think we just wanted to move quickly on it. So yeah, if you have better suggestions for the format of that, yeah, please shout.
Yeah, I mean, just from a pure user perspective, the first time I hit one, and it says, okay, MatrixBot says all these things, but you know, the context of who on earth was writing this, like, is this VDH, is this Eric, or is this random I am Bob 449 at twinpeaks.com, changes the tenor of how you interpret the issue. So if there is, I'm wondering whether it might be worth kind of gathering a list of things which we might want to include in the issues and do another pass at some point in a month or so to paper over that. The other thing is some copyright headers. Did they get fixed? Because
probably not yet, but that's on the list.
Okay.
So last week was a bit, yeah.
Cool. Well, if in the event that anybody's listening to this who's impacted by this, we've accidentally deleted everyone's copyright attestations from Synapse, but this is an accident. They will get added back in.
Matthew, are you suggesting having basically a tag for the original author in the issue, or are you suggesting somehow making it appear that it was created by that author?
No, I'm just talking about having, as part of the header of the copied comment, to say, hey, this issue was created by Foo, and putting it in the comment and escaping the @ so it doesn't notify the person who's been mentioned.
Right, I see. So saving a click on clicking back to the original thing. All right.
Yeah, so you can click back to see what's going on, but it's like, why the hell is this thing making me go and read the original issue just to discover this was written by Eric?
Yeah, all right.
Cool. Good follow-ups. Thanks, y'all. Let's move on to account portability and Dendrite with Keegan.
Yes. So we're parking the account portability work this year, as far as we can see, and we have updated the account portability work to the latest releases, and we've been doing some starting sync work to fix enable to decrypt bugs, and that's about it. So I think from next week we're going to try to merge this section into the backend section because it kind of makes more sense because we're kind of doing more backend stuff now.
All right, thank you. Who's on deck for spec? Looks like got a lot to say this week.
Hello. Yeah, mostly I think due to the holidays, but I mean this is a bit misleading because there was a lot of activity on existing MSCs. As I noted just in the minutes, we had some good discussion flowing through, people having time off from their day jobs. And I know there's no listed new MSCs, but I think Matthew did go through and effectively rewrite MSC 4016 for streaming end-to-end file transfers, which you can read a description of in this week's latest TWIM. So go check that out if you're interested. So slow, but not completely devoid of activity.
For context on the streaming file transfer stuff, this is me purely scratching an itch over Christmas. There is no intention or expectation to implement this anywhere. That said, if people were rewriting attachment management code in any of their Matrix clients, I think it could be really interesting to implement it to use streams rather than files, because it's about the same amount of work for either. And so if one was going from a crappy placeholder implementation to a proper implementation, then it might be worth having a chat to see if one can do it in a streaming kind of way. I also know that Travis was thinking of playing with it on the server side for his Matrix Media repo, again, not with a day job hat on, but a FOSS hat on. And I went and wrote a throwaway implementation in Node just of a media server for it, because we don't obviously need yet another media server in case anyone's interested.
Excellent. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Anoa. Moving on to VoIP with Florian.
Yep. Hello. Yeah, slowly ramping into the new year. On the element call side, there was a bit of a refactoring of the various stages element call has, and especially we were consolidating the lobby stage. For the time being, we have basically two, one living in element web, the other one living in element call. Going forward, we will only have a lobby in element call, and then we can also have some power user features where you can skip the lobby by a shift mouse click and so on and so forth. On the challenges side, we are still not yet ready with the UX refactor, following the latest and greatest design guides. But we aim at end of this month to get this done. In the meantime, we were able to conclude more or less the MVVM refactoring, which is work which needs to be carried out before we can finish the UX refactor. And you can already test it. The link here is in the notes. And there's also a link to the Figma files for the final implementation. There's one important call out. We decided to deprecate the Jitsi backend for video rooms in the very near future. And this is the first step, replacing the various video backends with the one and only element call backend. That's it.
Does Element plan to eventually drop its Jitsi setup, meet.element.io?
Yeah, eventually, but it's now to discuss the point in time.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'd be
Not
surprised.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that just keeps running for a very long time, given I dread to think who uses it. Like, people were using it quite independently of Element back in the day. So for as long as Element wants to provide it as a gift to the world, I would imagine it might keep running, unless we just can't be bothered to maintain it.
All right. Thank y'all. Let's move on to Elements Web and Desktop with Florian.
Yes, thank you. In our case, like the other team, we have a lot of holidays, but we also work on improving the user experience on thread and notification out thread to have a better view and better understanding of which notifications are in the thread and not in the main timeline, which notifications are for the current users or not. So yeah, we started to improve that. So we hope our better news in the next weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Element Android.
Yeah, hello everyone. Okay, for Element Android, we'll build an RC soon, this week, and if everything goes well, we'll plan to publish it next week. That's all for the Legacy app. About Element X Android, version 040 is now in production. Seems to be going well so far. These past weeks, we've been working on stabilizing the application, so there were lots of bug fixes and UI and UX improvements. Should be noticeable. And we've been mainly focusing on maintenance and test coverage so far. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Element iOS, Doug.
Hello. On iOS, we were the same as Android for the legacy app. We're going to build an RC soon, and we'll publish it next week if everything goes all right. And with Element X, there are lots of holidays amongst the team. So last week was just limited to bug fixes, such as flickering messages and struggling to edit certain messages. We did publish version 151 on the App Store. And this week, everyone is back, so we're all sort of winding back up and resuming business as usual. That's us.
Thank you very much. Matrix, Rust SDK, Manu.
Hello, everyone. So, yeah, that was quite weak in the team last week, but Jonas, from a community point of view, helped to release all the 0.7.0 releases, which is a major milestone because we are not able to release very easily the SDK right now. So it's a lot of manual steps, and Jonas goes through it during the holidays period. So thanks to him. There was a huge improvement in IndexedDB to improve performance for Element Web R. And this week we are back to have with receipts and with status computed correctly. And we will start working on room tabs filtering. And we are still working on the last message that may be wrong sometimes in the room list. And that's it.
Excellent, thank you. Let's go to encryption with Valir.
Yeah, hello. So we are still working on WebR, so working on the migration, also looking at some rough edges around performances when there is backup, several things regarding key exporting, importing. And also we are working on adding more integration tests using a full environment. And other bug and investigations.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Halfshot with Bridges.
Hello. So I guess a few things. We've got a Hookshot 5.1.0 has come out, and subsequent smaller releases. It has dark mode support, which is quite exciting. Also has all the compound changes, so now it uses compound for its UI rather than its own thing, which is nice to have and makes maintaining it a bit easier. Otherwise, lots of smaller bug fixes. This week, we're transitioning away from Node 18 and Node 19 and using Node 20 and beyond. This is in line with our policy of only supporting the latest LTS and any current releases. So slowly bridges will change over time. This shouldn't affect anyone that's using them because hopefully using Docker or some other recentest distribution. But yeah, shout if that's a problem for you. Another thing to mention is we're doing the conference spot for FOSDEM this year. I seem to be doing some of that. So it should be exciting in terms of getting pre-tax support. So yeah, lots of good stuff happening on our side.
I just heckled with a question on Bifrost, which is whether the Miranda IAM fork is in any way resolved with the work that we're doing, or is it just diverging?
It's diverging. I need to try and pull them back in, I think.
That could be really interesting because apparently they've done lots of good things. So. Okay.
All right. Next up, identity and authentication. Who's on deck for that today? Oh, Okay, looks like we might be passing on that one. Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm actually sorry. Actually, not much happening. The whole team was on holidays. I just got back, and I'm also busy with other stuff. So will mainly be catching up with issues that got filed over the week. I guess the one thing I wanted to highlight is like more and more people in the community are actually migrating to Mass and succeeding with it. So that's nice and helpful. So yeah.
I got some anecdata from somebody using Mass and critically the device management in Mass on the Element.io home server, saying that they were getting a bit lost with knowing which device was which because they're only identified by device IDs rather than names and stuff. So there may be some real
Yes, we have some device design screens ready for this that needs implementation, but because we're a bit low on resource, on front-end resource on this, I'm not sure when we're gonna have time to implement all that.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Tib, take it away with advocacy.
Hello. So two major news is going to be about the NLNet grant we had applied to. So we got rejected, but they shared very useful resources with a list of grants we can apply to. So we're going to evaluate what is relevant to us and what is not. And the FOSDEM Fringe event and FOSDEM itself. So we have Futo, Famedly, and Nordec sponsoring the Fringe event. So thanks to them, we can have pizzas and drinks. And I want to thank the Hackerspace that is hosting us because they are allowing us to deliver merch at their place. So a big crate of t-shirt is going to be delivered there, and that means I will not have to carry that by train, which is very good news for me. Coming up this week, blog, a few posts and more work on the Matrix.org website and a Matrix Live with whoever volunteers as a tribute.
Excellent. Thank you, Tib.
I'm not going to give Matrix Live for once.
Okay, next up is me with not a whole lot to say quite yet, sort of getting my head on straight after the holiday. Last week I published a migration blog post, very exciting to now be running my own home server, self-hosted. That took up a little more of my holiday than I was hoping for, but it was extremely illuminating, and it makes me appreciate the work that y'all are doing that much more. So, so thank you to all of the work and to all of the people who supported me in that, because I definitely couldn't have done it without help. This week, really the energy this month is launching a fundraising campaign. So we'll have more to say about that in in the very near future. But that is really going to be the lion's share of my attention this week. I have some financial housekeeping to do. And when I say housekeeping, I mean making sure that everybody's caught up on their invoices and payments and all that exciting stuff. Want to make sure the foundation's getting paid. And then one of the other things I'm doing this week with the deadline for the Open Source Summit Seattle event is for their call for proposals is coming up. So I'm looking at putting together some sort of talk for that. Need to start schmoozing with that crowd, see what I can do for us. The rest of the week will kind of emerge. We'll see what happens. A couple points of interest. I just wanted to give a shout out to the folks who represented Matrix at the Chaos Computing Congress over the holidays. And then also a huge thanks to everybody who's involved in preparing for FOSDEM, both in organizing our presence there and speaking there, the Fringe events and all that. I'm really excited that we are definitely taking advantage of those opportunities where there's a lot of interest in Matrix. The last note that I have for us today, as a reminder, we are going to shift this. We're going to experiment with the sync here a little bit. So the next one is not next week. It is 2 weeks from now. And what we want to do is we want to have these updates. We want to have this information the way that we have for folks, but we want to spend a little less time on literally reading our written reports to each other. So what we want to do is we want to have these written updates. We do want to have some space for Q&A amongst each other. But what we really want to try is to spotlight one project or work stream each time by giving somebody 5-10 minutes to present or talk or, you know, just shine a light on something that they want to bring attention to and then open up for a little discussion. One needn't put together a presentation for this. This isn't necessarily, you know, please put together a slide deck, but just let's have a conversation about a thing that we all need to have a little more visibility into. So much like Tib is seeking a tribute for Matrix Live, I am seeking a tribute for presenting at the next Matrix Sync, which is on the 22nd. So there's some time for that. If we don't get a volunteer coming to Tib or I apologize. You will be nominated. And I thank you for whoever is going to end up stepping up. Any thoughts, questions before we close out our first sync of the new year?
I had one for Tib, which is whether NLNet told us why they rejected us. There may be some ancient history here, which is when we first started end-to-end encryption for Matrix, they offered proactively to fund it to the tune of 50K. And we never got round to claiming the 50K because comically at the time we didn't need it and didn't have bandwidth to do the paperwork on it. We eventually did try to get the 50K about a year later when we needed it, to which they said, you're a bunch of complete jerks who said that you would take our money and then you didn't take our money. Now you've come back randomly a year later wanting our money. Screw you. In a nice way, in a really nice way, honestly. But there's a possibility that we're still slightly blacklisted from that escapade 6-7 years ago. That may be me being guilty and paranoid, but just a heads up that whilst we have a pretty good relationship with them, there may still be something in the system against us. But I'd like to know what it is, particularly as I'm also talking to NGI and their parent organizations. And Josh, if you haven't already spotted in your inbox, I have a long response from them about why the EU funding apparatus doesn't have a matrix-shaped hole in it. But we're trying to talk to them at other levels too.
Okay. Well, thank you for that context. Yeah, let's chase this down. Let's figure it out. I have a feeling that we can find our way through. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great first full week of the new year. Great to see you and have a great rest of your day.
Bye.